Human history is filled with strange and extraordinary tales, tales that make us wonder, like the man who lived 969 years, Methuselah, or the one who lived 500 years, or the one who saw the light of life for 200 years. These stories are not confined to a single book. They appear in every culture around the world. But the question is, are they true? Could a human being really live that long? Or are these simply legends? Today, science has records, data, verification, and yet the mystery of extreme longevity remains incomplete. Because intertwined with the data is another story, the story of false ages, faulty records, and questions that still have no answers. Since the second half of the last century, the number of people living past 100 in low mortality countries has approximately doubled every decade. And this trend continued into the first decade of the 21st century. That means the number of people achieving long lifespans is steadily increasing. Yet a question still stands in the middle. Does human life have an absolute limit? If it does, where is it? And if it doesn't, what about those stories of people who lived 200, 500, or even 969 years? Is there any truth in them? Such stories are nothing new in human history. In every civilization, every religion, every ancient text, we find individuals whose ages seem impossible to us today. Methuselah, 969 years. A Chinese emperor, 200 years. An Indian sage, 500 years. These tales have been passed down for centuries, but when science began to verify them, a truth emerged. Before the 20th century, validating anyone's age was nearly impossible. No birth certificates, no reliable records, and most of these stories were exaggerations, were pure legend. And this is where extreme longevity data splits into two categories. Data on extreme longevity falls into two categories. First, government records, the data that governments collect on deaths and populations. For those aged 105 to 109, semi-supercentenarians, and those aged 110 and above, supercentenarians. Second, special lists, lists that researchers compile themselves, gathering information from all over the world. And the most famous among them is the Gerontology Research Group's supercentenarian list. These are individuals who meet their strict validation criteria. But both categories have flaws, and without understanding those flaws, any conclusion remains incomplete. You might think that countries with excellent statistical systems would have accurate data, but even there, problems arise at extreme ages. Take Sweden as an example. In 2014, when researchers looked at the data, they noticed that at ages above 105, the proportion of foreign-born individuals suddenly jumped. But this jump appeared only in the population counts, not in the death records, meaning some people were overstating their age. And this isn't just a Sweden issue. In the US, vital statistics show numerous deaths above age 110, and even some above 130, which are clearly wrong. Because of this, statistical offices are now forced to set the open age interval no higher than 100 and to use smoothed death rates after age 95. Even the Human Mortality Database, the world's largest source of population and mortality data, recommends exactly that. Now let's turn to the second category, special lists, like the Gerontology Research Group's supercentenarian list. These are individuals who meet their strict validation criteria. But there are two problems with such lists. First, we don't know what proportion of the actual population these lists capture. Second, the lists are not representative. Because newspapers only report on the oldest, the other 110-year-olds who are slightly younger never get mentioned. Due to this age ascertainment bias, if you rely only on these lists, you cannot accurately measure mortality at extreme ages. You are only looking at the famous ones. The full picture remains hidden.
Despite all this confusion,
One thing is clear. In the second half of the 20th century, in low mortality countries, the number of people reaching age 100 approximately doubled every decade, and this trend continued into the first decade of the 21st century. That means, in the future, the number of extreme longevity cases will likely keep growing. Centenarians, those 100 and above, and supercentenarians, those 110 and above. Their increasing numbers give us a practical foundation to investigate the extremes of human longevity. And here we arrive at the point where science remains divided. Some researchers say the limit of human life is close. Dong, Milholland, and Vidge 1916 paper puts that limit at 115 years. Other researchers argue the data is still open, and they point to Gamp's plateau, that flat line visible between ages 110 and 114. But there is another issue. The data itself is not perfect. Some countries' records are incomplete, some have problems with age exaggeration, and special lists are not representative. So the question is, can we ignore these data flaws and declare a final limit? The answer hasn't come yet, and perhaps it will take time. Those who call Jeanne Calment's record 122.45 years a mere statistical accident say that such an age will never come again. But the data suggests otherwise. As the number of supercentenarians continues to rise, probability dictates the chances of reaching 115, 118, 120 also increase. And the research by Lennart, Aborto, Stockmar, and Vopel indicates that a record like Jeanne Calment's appearing again is not implausible. But appearing in the near future is unlikely. The chances are low, but not zero. And these low chances are the most interesting part of science, because if the chance is not zero, then somewhere in someone's life, that record could be broken. When we talk about extreme longevity, we aren't just talking about numbers, we're talking about human beings who have watched entire centuries unfold. Their lives hold no secret formula, no special diet, but one thing emerges again and again. They stay engaged with life. They keep doing something. They keep connecting with people. And they don't worry. This isn't scientific data, but perhaps it is the real secret. The secret that doesn't appear in any graph. The secret that lies only in the way one lives. Science is still searching for flaws in extreme longevity data. Government records have problems, special lists have biases, and researchers remain divided on whether a limit exists. But what we can learn is this: a long life record is not merely chance, it is the life of people who had a way of living. They stayed engaged, they stayed connected, and they greeted each morning as a new day. Perhaps we don't need to learn this. We only need to remember the purpose of life is not merely a long lifespan, but to live each day as if it were the first and the last. 969 years, 500 years, 200 years. Whether these stories are fact or legend, we may never know. But what we do know is this: after the 20th century, when verification began, the verified record of extreme longevity reached only 122 years. And beyond, science is still searching. Data still has flaws, but one thing is certain: every decade, the number of people living past 100 keeps increasing. And as the numbers increase, possibilities increase. The secret of extreme longevity still lies hidden in the data. But perhaps the real secret isn't in the data. It lies in the lives of those who wake up every day, do something, stay connected to others, and don't let worries overwhelm them. Because in the end, the limit of life is not what science declares, it is what you, every day, set for yourself. If today's story made you think about extreme longevity, then please share this video, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, because in the videos ahead, we'll go even deeper into the boundaries of human life that are still open before us. See you in the next story.